Okay, when did you become a professional photographer?
That's tough. What's professional? I mean, really. I guess in 1969.
And your first employer was Surfer?
Actually, it was Hobie. I worked for Jim Glynn, Hobie Surfboards, recording all the different types of designs and layups and pigments and spin designs and stuff like that that they were doing at the time.
And you photographed all of them, and that's how you, and so
yes.
And you did it for catalog, or?
For a catalog that they put together so they could put them in the shops and sell boards on the East Coast and stuff like that, so they had representation.
And so after that, then you went to Surfer?
Yeah, Severson hired me the summer that I graduated from high school. By accident.
Boy, Art, that's a long career. You know,
it's been spotted.
as they all seem to be, right? What years did you work for High Times?
Never worked for High Times. Actually, we did a calendar. Terry Lamb, myself, a guy named Tommy Bidwell, part of the Brotherhood guys, and I think that was like 73 or 74, something like that.
So were you working at Surfer at the time that you did the calendar? No,
I wasn't. I'd been let go by Severson in, I think, 71, and I was kicking around doing work for Irvine and working for a guy in San Diego, and that was just something I did in my spare time.
And you were also an assistant for Playboy magazine?
I assisted Dwight Hooker for a couple shoots. That was it.
When you worked at Surfer, you were the photo editor, worked in the dark room, did the studio work, and worked in the field. Do you feel that that was some of your most creative time?
It was a lot of fun. You know, it was probably the loosest period of time of my life. What it was Surfer, it made it easy to get pictures and shoot people because everybody passing through all the time.
How did you meet Bunker?
Bunker was, I'd heard about him in '67, and he was going to Cal Western, and I knew Rod Smith and some guys that were going to school down there, and happened to go down to New Break, and just saw him from the distance, really never paid attention to him. Then the next time was 1969 in North Shore. He was down at Pipeline. I was wandering the beach. It was around sunset time. Surf wasn't good or anything, and all of a sudden this guy comes up, you know, skinny kid with big, thick red board. It looked real strange, and he asked me if I'd take a few photographs of him, so I did.
And that image became pretty iconic of...
Yeah, it sort of became a representation of, you know, that period of surfing for some reason, because everybody was trying to change the way surfing was, you know, with board design and just the sort of look, you know, had a little bit of Greeno look to him, and you know, the whole game.
How'd you start working with him?
Well, what had happened is that actual picture that I took later, Brad Barrett had taken it and put it on a repronar and blew it up real tight, so it became more of a portrait. And Modern Photography somehow saw it, wanted to use it, and I contacted Bunker, sent him a copy of it, and he flipped out. He'd been eating a lot of peyote and mushrooms and stuff, and when he saw that picture, pulled it out of the envelope, he thought it was the devil, you know, and that was it. So he told me flat out no, and I got pissed off, told him he was just a fucking rich asshole, and, you know, go ahead, be that way. And then I didn't ever hear from him or anything, and he had inherited his money. And I think that was in about halfway through 73. And just ran into him someplace, and he goes, "So, where are you living?" And I was living behind Emams at the time, and he goes, "Cool." And then showed up one day and wanted to know if I wanted to go surfing, so I went surfing with him, and next thing goes, hey, you ever want to go to Kauai? Come over, take some pictures. I'll pay your way, all expenses, feed you, and air ticket. And so I went, sure. And so I went over a few times, and then he ended up asked me what I was doing this summer of '75, and I said going to probably go to Puerto Escondido. I had no place to go. I wanted to get out of Hawaii. And he goes, oh, you want to go to South Africa? And I went, oh yeah, right, sure, why not, you know, thinking it was all bullshit. And about 3 months later, he called me up and asked me to come into town and to Honolulu to bring my passport. And so I showed up in town, and first thing, he went over to the Pan Am offices and bought 3 first-class tickets around the world, which scared me because I really didn't trust Bunker. You know, there was that, you know, that edge. I mean, during that whole period of time that I was shooting stuff in Kauai and on Oahu, he was always pretty easygoing in that, but I knew there was another side of that. And when we'd taken off from Honolulu and went to LA, we spent a week picking up gear and stuff, and I met his mom, and his mom goes, what are you doing with him? Be careful, you know. You know, my mom thought he was a pretty nice kid because he had manners and all that, but his mom just kept going, be careful with Bunker. And so I said, I don't feel right, you handling the tickets and all this, so I want some sort of guarantee. You give me my tickets, or, you know, I want a contract. And so he had a contract drawn up to where if I quit, I had to basically get back on my own. Very strange deal. But if I was fired, you know, it was first class the whole way. And you know, I really wasn't paid any money. It was just a ticket and, you know, being fed.
Had the promise of a good time, huh?
Oh yes, to be had by all.